Hey y'all, welcome back.
It's Wednesday, and you know, we're
winging it.
Today we have our friends Alec and Cindy. They're full-time RVers from South Carolina, and they're going to share their story with us, so stick around. Alrighty, y'all know the rules of winging it. Today, since we have friends with us, we're going to have a 15-minute expanded winging it.
Yeah.
So I'm setting a timer on my phone for 15 minutes. This is totally unedited, unscripted. You get what you get, and we're winging it.
Well, we know you guys have a very unique story, and why don't you just tell the folks, how did you get started and why did you start full-timing?
Well, we used to have a pop-up, and we have 6 children, and we would go to the beach or somewhere every month when the kids were younger. Because I was a cop, we got 1 weekend off a month, we took the kids camping. And we met an older couple that was full-timing, and that's when we decided that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and you had some challenges at the beginning of all this.
Yep, we started planning about, well, first let me say that we were going to wait till we got Social Security, and we met a couple down in Hilton Head, and we were camping one weekend, and that's what they had done, and the wife came down with Alzheimer's about 6 months before they were going to go full-time, and so now they can't go more than about 2 miles from their house, and their son has to come sit in the camper while he goes and fishes and stuff. And so we decided at that time, while we were healthy and younger, we wanted to do it. So
yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So when y'all now had figured out you were going to go full-time and everything, what rig were you going to go full-time in?
Well, like I said, we had 6 kids growing up, and so my wife was used to driving the big Ford E450 vans, because if you had 2 kids that were sitting side by side, they'd fight. So everybody had their own seat with a space between them. So my wife felt comfortable driving the Ford van, so we went with a Class C. And that's, we had a 30-foot Class C. Didn't have a lot of storage, was limited on weight capacity, but we still felt like we could do it in that rig, and my wife could help drive, and she'd be more comfortable.
But we're not sitting in a Class C, so what happened with that?
The Class C caught on fire. We were camping in January with some friends headed to Atlanta, Georgia, and it was 19 degrees, it was in January, and we had used all our propane the night before. And so we told them to go ahead, and we were going to stop at a Love's Travel Center, fill up with propane, and we'd catch up. Well, there was, all the appliances were off like you're supposed to, and I pointed out to the service guy that the port, which was right next to the propane tank for some reason, for the heater, was hot. And I told him be sure and bleed the propane down. And he bled it across the port. The bleed line became a flamethrower, and so we don't have a Class C anymore. But one thing I would say is that when your dealer tells you, no one or no pets should be in the motorhome while it's being filled with propane, that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Heed that warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. So, I mean, it went up quick, I guess, huh? I mean, did you have much time to react to anything? Or?
Well, actually, this guy that was filling the propane ran back to the office, and I had to run to the tank and push the button. So we're able to save the rig, so to speak. It burned out all the wiring on the inside of the wall, or the side wall on the door side, and it blew out the front of the furnace and kind of seared some of the inside cabinetry. But the main thing is it melted all the wiring that was in the wall, and then discolored the whole side of the camper.
Wow. Wow.
So obviously the C's down.
C is down.
So
like a rabid dog.
so that was good, but you weren't living in it at that point.
No, we were
right?
we were on the, most people when they go full-time and they've got like, okay, this is my 18-month plan.
Right.
So our 18-month plan turned into a 24-month plan, because we had to start over. I didn't buy gap insurance, so we were a little upside down in that rig. So it gave us a little bit of more challenges financially. As a retired cop, we don't have a lot of money with 6 kids and a wife that didn't work outside the home.
But we had figured out a few things. We had decided that that particular Class C did not have as much storage as we felt like we were going to need.
Okay.
So we learned a few things, you know,
Sure.
about it. You don't realize how important those things are until you experience it and you actually move into it and camp in it, and then you realize, oh, I might need a little more storage here or there. Wish
Right.
this was laid out a little bit different. And
So then what did y'all get?
We got a Class A,
Okay.
not this one.
Okay.
Um,
There's more to the story.
yeah. So we got a Class A that we were very happy with. It had more storage than this camper has, actually. It was a little bit bigger, not much bigger. And we went to an RV show, walked through 100 and 200 campers.
dozens.
And one thing we've learned since we bought that coach is, we've learned so much, is that just because it's shiny and new doesn't mean it's a quality unit.
Right.
And so we had that Class A.
And that one didn't work out,
No.
obviously, because we're not sitting in that one right now.
Right.
Right.
So we had that one for about 14 months into our plan. And we decided when we put the house on the market, we were going to live in the driveway in the motorhome, because Cindy had the great idea of, we'll be able to transfer the stuff that we're going to take with us. We can get used to it. We can figure out what we need and don't need. There's many a days where a crock pot came in and a crock pot went back to the
So
house.
it was helping you do the downsizing.
Right.
Right.
That's a great
And
idea.
weed between that. Now, what did you do with all your stuff that you didn't bring with you?
So we have 6 kids.
Okay.
Cindy texted the children one day that said, we're really doing this. We've got stickers, 6 different color stickers. Monday morning at 6 o'clock, the house is open. And come and put stickers on what you want. We've given everybody the same number of stickers. So I had one son that went to the barn and he stickered up the tools.
Okay.
Our daughters stickered up our brand new sofas. Our other son stickered up the brand new TV I had just gotten for Christmas from him. And so that was, anything of value got stickered. And so unlike most people, they go, oh, we had garage sales and we sold. Well, my wife
We didn't do
also
that.
homeschooled the kids. So we had every piece of paper they'd ever touched. She homeschooled all 6 of them. Every participation trophy,
Textbooks, you name it.
every
had it.
15th place.
Yeah.
I mean, we had everything. And so I made, I think it was 18 trailers worth of stuff to Goodwill.
Okay.
Because when all the kids moved out, they took the stuff they wanted, and their rooms were still full
Right.
of old computers. And
Yeah.
True story.
so all that stuff went to Goodwill. And then I had one of those 40-yard construction dumpsters delivered, and we filled that.
Wow.
Wow. So do y'all have a storage unit now? Or?
Unfortunately, we are paying $2,500 a year to store $1,500 worth of crap.
Yeah. And I totally understand. We did not do that for that reason. You know,
Well,
we finally
Cindy's mother
said,
died right before we went full-time, and she got all the heirloom stuff she can't
okay.
let go of yet.
right.
Sure.
And so all of the antiques from her mother's and grandmother's houses in there. And I'm hoping when we go home this next November, we'll go to a smaller storage unit.
Well, and some of that stuff is large furniture that won't fit in my children's houses yet.
Right.
So hopefully they will eventually end up with that. But
Right.
Right.
Okay, so we're still not in this rig yet. So
Right.
what
so now
got
you're
you in
camping in your driveway.
camping in the
Right.
driveway?
In the previous.
Downsizing.
Downsizing. So we
Okay.
decide we're going to take a quick trip to Tybee Island. I need a break from all this downsizing. So we go to Tybee Island, and the camper we had one slide, the motorhome. It was 32 feet long,
Wow.
and it was
Yeah,
Swintech
huge.
with 2 undersized motors on it.
Yep.
And so it went out and stayed out. And so we got stranded on Tybee Island trying to figure out how to get this in on a weekend, on a Sunday, trying to get back. Because of all the problems we had started developing with this camper, the more we used it, actually the service tech at the factory gave me a cell phone number.
Oh,
That's how often we were calling. And so I called him at home on a Sunday, and he talked me through
getting that slide in.
getting the slide in. So we got back home, and we're in it for another 6 weeks trying to finish. We'd gotten a contract on the house, and it actually went really quick. They said it'd be 9 months to sell the house. We actually had 3 contracts on it, and we're out in 3.5 months, 3
Yeah.
months.
Wow.
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 Quick.
Quick.
That is
Yep.
crazy.
So, okay, so now you've gotten to the point where the house is about sold.
Right. And so every weekend, because we didn't have a dump, all I had was a power service and water at the house. Every weekend, we'd go over to either Poinsett State Park or Santee State Park in South Carolina, dump the tanks, get some lunch at either Lone Star Barbecue or Bunky's, depending on which of the state parks we went to, and then we'd come back home. So we are closing up the camper on a holiday weekend to go to the state park to dump, and the front motor on the slide went out and the back motor went in, and so it got stuck and pinned and ended up stripping out the gears and all that wonderful stuff. So now I call my service tech at home on a holiday weekend and he talks to me for 2 hours, and he finally just says, you're going to have to get a Sawzall and cut the rails
Oh.
on the camper and push it back in. So for the next 3 weeks, we lived in the camper with the slide all the way in, with our tanks full, and till we closed on the house. And then that day we closed on the house, drove the motor home
To our dealer.
to our dealer, because because the manufacturer that we had bought the camper from said, you know, it's the second time you're out of warranty now, because we'd had the camper for 14 months or so, but we'll supply you the parts and you pay the labor. So we got up there, and there's only like this much room between the back wall and the slide, but the slide stuck in like 3.5 feet, and the motors had to be gotten from the inside of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So they called up the manufacturer and they said, well, the only way to get to that motor is you're going to have to disassemble the whole slide. So it's going to be about $15,000 and 3 months worth of labor.
Yeah, and so
And-
you're going to be without it for a long
Right.
time.
So we had just
We
sold the
don't have
house
a house.
that day. So we
Oh.
don't have a house. The camper's going to be in the shop for 3 months. And we had, like I said, we had the service guy at the factory's personal cell phone number, because everything leaked. The slides were always breaking. Nothing, you could not go in this particular. I tell everybody, you know, you never want to buy a car that's built on a Monday or a Friday. Well, we bought a motorhome that was built on a Friday afternoon where everybody was trying to get
Right.
home.
Well, with all this happening, surely you don't want to go full time now, right?
No, we are determined to live a lifestyle, because we have talked. So when you start planning this life, you talk to everybody that's doing it.
Yeah.
You walk up to somebody that can't run. You like your full time? Are you full time? How do you like it? Everybody loves it,
That's
and
right.
we love it. It has changed our lives. I see people back home. They say, "Alec, you look 10 years younger." And you said that you saw pictures of us
Yes.
when we before we started, and that we looked healthier now.
Yes.
There's no
And
doubt
we do.
about it.
We do.
There's no doubt about it.
So now what do y'all travel in, live in?
So now we live in a Tiffin 32 SA, which is nicer
Then our house.
than the house that all the cabinets are hand built. We had one problem where the transfer switch went out when we were in Virginia, and it wasn't even a Tiffin problem. A storm blew in. They had a brownout, and it melted the 50 amp wires to the receiver or whatever. I'm not very mechanical in the transfer switch. And so I told Tiffany, I just need the part. The company is the one that, the campground is the one that, you know, is going to do the repair. They said, nope, you have a Tiffin. Excuse me while my wife gets a very important phone call.
We're waiting.
And so they said no. So they sent us a new 50 amp power cord. They sent us a new transfer switch, and they paid to have somebody install it.
Wow.
Well, and we've seen that. You know, we're in a Tiffin, everybody knows, and that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to get a Tiffin too, is that they back up their product from what we've seen. I mean,
and we just went to the mothership. That was 15 minutes.
That was
yeah,
15
but you know
minutes,
what?
it
We're
flies
going to
by.
extend it a little bit. We've got good stuff.
Yeah.
We hadn't even hardly gotten out of the driveway. So, sorry, but we are going to extend this a little bit.
And so we went to what we call the mothership. We went to Red Bay, Alabama, because our warranty's getting close to up, and we had little things, a list of like that cabinet door was not straight, and I wanted adjusted, that sort of stuff. The TV was crooked, and so they fixed all that. But they also found 13 other things, and they found some overspray on the side of the coach, and they repainted the side of the coach.
Wow.
Something you didn't even ask for.
Something I
You
didn't
didn't
even
even know
ask
was
for,
an
no.
issue.
And so we have confidence in this coach. When I go to push the button to pull in the slide, I'm not like going, oh, Jesus, please. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, I would make
please let it
myself
work.
sick in the other coach, just worried about if we were going to be able to get home.
Right.
And so that was no way to go full time. And we're doing this because we want to live a stress-free, or a stressor, stressless, less stress, a less stress life. And we weren't going to do it in the other coach.
Right.
But buying this coach, I mean, I bought the other one because it was shiny and inexpensive. And this one's shinier, full body paint. And but it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, so that kind of threw your budget off.
Yes.
Do it off a lot.
A lot. But it's no use doing this if you're broke down somewhere, if you're stuck in the dealership for 3 months.
Yep.
Right.
So what did you do to compensate for that?
So first we thought we would wing it, so to speak. For the first 2 or 3 months, we said, we're just going to see how this goes. We're going to not eat out. We're going to maybe stay longer in one place, or we're not going to, when we go, the park's going to be 50 miles away instead of 350 miles away. And that helped. But we ended up deciding we were going to have to go to work. And I go like, I just did 26 years at the police department. I'm retired. But so we found, did a lot of asking around, and we were at Santee State Park, which is one of our favorite parks in South Carolina.
Put that on your list.
Yep.
And the guy behind us was there working the park for Southeast Publications.
Okay.
Barry. Hey, Barry. And so I went and talked to him. I said, I see you leave every day. Your wife's here. And what do you do? And he goes, well, we do campground guest guides for Southeast Publications. And there's a lot of benefits to it. And I'm sure they'll put a link somewhere
Yeah,
to get in
we'll
touch
put it.
with me to my Twitter page or something. And I can, if you have questions, you can email me or something. But there's a lot of advantages that have made it to where we can work part-time and afford the lifestyle. So we work like 10:30 to 4:30 during the week, and every 3 months we take 2 weeks off, and we just go from park to park to park. We stay 2 weeks at a time. We update their guest guide, and we go to the next park, and it has been life-changing.
What I've got to tell you guys is, hearing their story, they are some of the most positive people I have ever met. I mean, they were, met with, challenges that are just unbelievable. They didn't even tell you about the medical challenges they had before they started this too. And
this is Chance, if you can
yeah,
see
there's Chance. And they just kept pushing through it. And today, would you still recommend this lifestyle?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah. If you were to give one tip to folks that are thinking about doing it or maybe just starting out, what would you tell them?
Don't wait till you're too old to enjoy it. So that's what we were worried about, is we'd met these people that, as soon as we get our Social Security, we'll be good. And then they're not in good enough shape. Maybe they can ride around and that's Reagan is wearing your phone out. I know. And then they get to where either if they're doing it, they can't go hike the trails or go float down the river or whatever it is you want to do. So figure out a way to do it while you're young, and that's what we had thought we had done. And then the day I got a contract on the house, the next day I was in the hospital with heart problems in ICU.
Wow.
So I almost wasn't young enough
Right.
at 53.
Right when they thought the house was sold, they had a contract, then they thought, we've waited too long.
Yeah.
That's what he
Wow.
told us. He said,
I thought we'd waited too long, and I'm going like, I'm 53. And I looked at her when I was in ICU because she didn't leave my side. I said, I'm sorry, I've blown our dream. And we prayed about it, and I'm better. I'm not on any medications. They were able to do a procedure, an ablation that fixed everything. And so we didn't get to go the first 4 or 5 months. We had to stay close to our home town. So we would go up to Virginia or down to Georgia or over to Tennessee because I had to come back for doctor's appointments with the heart doctor. But now I'm completely off all my medication. We're on the coast of Texas
Yeah.
and headed to Oklahoma.
That's awesome.
that is awesome.
And they have a video about what it's like to recover from a medical procedure while you're in an RV.
Yes.
And so we'll link to that in the description in case you're interested, and to their channel. And
Yeah, we were going to be YouTube famous, but it's a lot of work. And so there's no new YouTubes lately. We may put one up every now and then.
Maybe this will encourage us.
yeah,
That's
maybe
right.
so. But tell them how they can send you an email if they have a question about maybe working on the road, and maybe
or
they
tweet
want
you,
to.
or
Right,
where can they find you?
So we're sharing the journey on Twitter, and that's actually how Tom and I
Yeah,
met.
that's how
I
we
put
connected.
a picture up of a urinal at a distillery and or at a brewing company.
Yeah.
And he started commenting on it because it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
And then 3 weeks later, he's walking down he drives by, and I tweet him a picture of his truck or the Jeep. I said, and then he walked by, and here we are.
You
Yeah,
never know who you're
YouTube
going to run into.
Yeah.
So we'll link to his to sharing the journey in the description.
Right, it's YouTube and
Awesome.
Twitter, although the
Yep.
YouTube's not very active. Might be coming soon.
Yep,
You
you
never
never
know.
know. They might get the
Give
bug
them some
now.
love. Thanks for sitting down with us, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
We really
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
it.
to
Had
our
a great
home.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Absolutely.
beautiful home, and it's a
Yes.
gas Class A motorhome.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We tired cop. We couldn't afford the diesel. I really
But it
wanted a Allegra red.
It is beautiful, and tons of space in here.
Yeah, tons of space.
They really
It's a
use the
beautiful
space well.
coach.
So what model is it again?
This is a 32 SA.
A 32 SA. So if you ever get a chance to take a look at one of these, definitely do it, because it's got some very unique features that really use the space well.
I like the bathroom, and the midship bathroom is on both sides of the hallway.
Yep, and it goes behind the TV, so you'll just have to see what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
that's right.
And we've
That's
got,
right.
important thing is we've got 9,000 trouble-free miles,
That's awesome.
where the last motorhome didn't even make 6,000 miles.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. So if you have any more questions for them, be sure to leave it in the comment as well. And I'm sure you guys will be checking the comments,
We
right?
can,
So they
yes.
can
Yep.
answer. And thanks for winging it. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Safe travels.
And happy camping.
Bye.
Bye.